purpose of this speech is to inform people that college athletes should be paid. College athletes should get paid to compensate for student loans, revenue they endure to their universities and their families. Would you like to get paid for playing a sport you love while still in college? Most college athletes, when going to school, have to pay for books, classes, places to live, and of course, taking care of their families. The NCAA as a whole makes $6 billion annually. For all their hard work, college athletes put in every year for their programs, doing commercials and branding their colleges on the map each year. Going to practice every day and then having to study for exams is not an easy thing. How can student athletes think about playing the sport they love when their families cannot afford student tuition, books, or living on campus? Student tuition annually can range anywhere from $15,000 to $70,000 a year. Some college athletes come from poor families when they don't even make $50,000 a year together, or have a car and money to buy whatever they choose. How can students afford that if they don't even have a job? Some players can't even get scholarships because they don't have good grades in high school. Athletes should be rewarded for everything they do for their program. I believe the more years they stay at the college, the more money you should consistently make. Coaches are very upset over the idea of players being paid because that means a pay cut for them as well. Duke head coach, basketball coach Mike Krzyzewski makes over $10 million a year, which is higher than a lot of NBA coaches. The top tier athletic programs regularly bring in tens of millions of dollars a year. Duke's athletic program, for example, pulled in a revenue of nearly $80 million during a recent fiscal year, but it ended up with just $146,000 in excess revenue. That's also why the NCAA had a surplus of only $80 million on $989 million in revenue for its last fiscal year. The students need to be taken care of because they are generating a lot of revenue. And here's a quote from President Obama on this issue. It doesn't matter whether they get cut, it doesn't matter whether they get hurt. You're now entering into a bargain and are responsible for them. In an interview with the Huffington Post. Supporting your family when you have children and you're living with your parents at 19 to 20 years old is hard with no job, and you have to go to practice every day. Making money while in college will definitely help their chances of not going broke after they make it to the pros, as well as furthering their education. If they are paid while in school, then these athletes won't want to leave after their sophomore year and enter the draft, especially if they're good at school and if their school is winning championships. The longer they're in school, there's a better chance for them to finish their degree and learn how to manage their money in the future. It's easy to get to the pros, but the question is, can you stay in for a long time and not go broke? In conclusion, student athletes can afford tuition, books, along with places to live every semester. They should be rewarded for the hard work they do and all the money their school makes a year. If players knew how much their school is making off them from going to bowl games and tournaments, I think they would make this a bigger issue than it already is. Taking care of their families is a major role for these athletes that do not make it to the pros, and that's why earning a salary while in college will help support them. These athletes just go out and perform every day, giving their school and coaches all the fame and credit, but in the end they deserve a salary as well. I believe if you're going to give these athletes a salary, you have to provide them with the classes and help on how to manage their money and what to do with it so they don't end up broke. Thank you for giving me the time to talk about this issue of college athletes and if they should be paid or not.
First of all,